Hey, you clicked on this video. Good for you. That's awesome. This is not the usual kind of video that I would do, but I kind of want to branch out and just do stuff that I like. And so I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine. And I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but it's better to be late than not show up to the party, I guess. That's one way to put it. Okay. This is really going to be, I want to just kind of talk about the things that I liked about it and some of the criticisms I had. It's not really a review, I guess. It's just kind of like my thoughts about it. So I'll keep it vague on the front end, but then there will be spoilers. So if you are not okay with spoilers, then I'll give you a fair warning and I'll have you skip ahead at a certain point. But right now we're not talking spoilers. So this was the first movie that I've seen in a long time in the theater. And for me to go see a movie at the theater nowadays, like, it's just gotta be something that I'm really excited about. And this was one that I was excited about. I feel like Marvel movies have just been not what they used to be for a very long time. This one, I loved it. The story was great. I really appreciated that I didn't really watch the Loki show hardly at all. And I know that there's a lot of elements and kind of tie-ins with it there, but even not having seen the Loki show completely, I feel like it didn't really hinder me that much. So that was really great. Man, the cameos in this movie are so crazy. And once we get into spoilers, I will definitely talk about each one of them individually. The cameos in this movie, though, were so good. Like, just blew my mind. Well, okay, hang on. I should say some of them were really good. Some of them, man, a little cringy. I'll definitely get into that in the spoilers if you want to go there. And then there were some that were missing that I was actually really hoping for that didn't show up. So that was a little bit tough. I think the thing that I walked away with was, like, superhero movies are fun again. Like, they've been good, and they've yes, taken themselves seriously, and in some ways they needed to. There was elements of them that they needed to take themselves very, very seriously, but I think for me, this just felt like the palate cleanser that we've been waiting for to sort of turn the corner on some things, I guess. Again, we'll get into some spoilers, but just there's some, like, costume stuff that is just proof that if you give the people what they want, it can work, which was really, really awesome. Hugh Jackman, I think, was amazing. To be frank, I'm not a huge Hugh Jackman fan as far as him as Wolverine. Like, I think he's been fine as Wolverine, and I almost feel like he's gotten better as time has gone on. Younger Wolverine was not really my favorite, but as he has gotten older and as the character has aged, I have a better appreciation for him as Wolverine. But like I need to go back and watch the very first X-Men movie. But what I remember of it, and even when I see, like, little clips of it and things, like, I feel like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine back then was pretty rough. But those movies maybe were pretty rough. That's my opinion. Anyway, I think he was amazing in this. So good. And man, I want to just say bravo to Disney. Like, and I know that that's probably a hot take, but bravo to Disney, because the amount of just, like, lines that they were able to cross and chances they were able to take with this is wild to me. And it was so good. It was really, really good. So I love it. So that's, like, the spoiler-free ramblings. I'm going to get into spoilers now. So again, if you don't want spoilers, then you can skip to this time in the video, but it probably is just going to be me kind of rehashing a couple of things that I just talked about now. But still, click over there. That'd be great. I really appreciate that. Go do that. And by the way, thumbs up this video, subscribe, all that great stuff. This channel's not monetized, and so that's just a really great way to support me and the channel on the road to that. So I appreciate that. All right, you have been warned. We are getting into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. If you've seen the movie, I got in actually, like, in the middle of the opening credits. I missed maybe, like, the first 2 minutes. So I've since then gone back and saw what I missed. And essentially I missed the part where he's, like, digging up the grave, sitting with the skeleton, all that kind of stuff. I missed all that, which really sucks. But the intro fight sequence where he is using Wolverine's adamantium skeleton as a weapon is so good. Just was so... it just kind of blew my mind right off the bat that not only would they allow him to do that with the character, but just the idea of that was so cool that, yeah, just the opening sequence to have the fight be him using the leftover remains of Wolverine's skeleton was just mind-blowing. It's so good. So that brings us into the cameos. So let's talk about some of these cameos. Holy cow. Okay. Henry Cavill as one of the alternate Wolverines was amazing. Like, I know that there's been some talk of at some point that Hugh Jackman might hang up the mantle and who's going to take over. And I think I've seen some stuff online that's like, oh, it could be Harry Potter. What's his name? Daniel Radcliffe? Maybe. But Henry Cavill, when he turned around, number one, I was not expecting that at all. And when he turned around and I saw him, it just, I don't know, it just clicked. It blew my mind. I was like, that is rad. I think Henry Cavill could be an interesting option for a new Wolverine, or kind of like a splinter Wolverine. I think that was rad. Okay, Chris Evans. When they get to the Void and Chris Evans shows up, and like you're getting all these hints that Deadpool is like a super big fan, kind of a fanboy of Captain America. So you see him there, and that's what you're expecting. And when he says "flame on" and flies up into the air, like audibly, I think I shouted in the theater. It was so good to see him as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. Just ridiculous. That was awesome. Getting to see all the Brotherhood mutants, I think was cool. Like, and a lot of them, I think, were some of the original actors: Sabretooth, Toad, Juggernaut. Although I don't think the Juggernaut was the same one, but all that's cool. I'm not like big fans of those guys, but it was cool to see them come back. Blade, X-23, and Elektra. And I know I'm missing one, but I'm going to get to that one. Very cool to see Wesley Snipes as Blade. I mean, you know, kind of, I feel like I've heard somewhere, like, kind of the backbone of like Marvel movies sort of being able to make it into the mainstream and stuff like that. So that was really cool. Jennifer Garner as Elektra, fine. Like, I'm not a huge Elektra fan. I'm not really a huge Jennifer Garner fan. I'm just kind of like, meh. The little stab, pun intended, that she takes at Ben Affleck, aka Daredevil, was so good. Like, it was subtle, but that was great. Love that. And then X-23, I've never actually seen Logan. I didn't see the Old Man Logan movie, so I didn't have an emotional reaction to that, but very cool that she's there. Again, I know I'm missing one. We'll get to that towards the end. All the Deadpool variants I thought were cool. Like Matthew McConaughey as sort of like the cowboy Deadpool. I didn't actually realize that was McConaughey. I think my mind was so blown in the moment of just like seeing all the variants that it didn't register for me that that's who that was. But like, so Blake Lively as Lady Deadpool, Matthew McConaughey as the cowboy Deadpool, all that was cool and fine. Dogpool, dude, I don't get it. Like, that thing is just so disgusting. Like, I think that's probably the point. I mean, yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, like, I'm sure that's probably the point, is that he looks as bad as Wade does when he's got his mask off, and so there's a kindred spirit there. But every time I see that dog, it just, so gross. So, not a fan. Okay, I'm going to get into the missing cameos in just a minute, but let's talk about the elephant in the room. Channing Tatum, a.k.a. Channing Tater, a.k.a. Cheesy Tater, as Gambit. Look, from what it seems like online, everybody's for this. And I totally get that this is like a dream, like a long-standing dream for him and something that he's been working towards and trying to make happen. And it's like it's going to happen and then it's not going to happen and all that. I totally get all of that. It seems like most people had a very positive response to this. Man, maybe this is a hot take, but I did not buy it for a second. I'm sorry. Like, I love the character of Gambit, and I was excited to see Gambit live action. Not Gambit for the first time, because it was in I think it was in Origins, in Wolverine Origins. And man, maybe hot take, and maybe I'm misremembering. I need to go back and watch the scene, but there's almost a part of me that's like, I prefer that Gambit to this one. I know that's wild probably to say, but it just, I don't know, man. It just did not resonate with me. There was something about it that I just couldn't buy into it. And I think it's a mix of like, he doesn't look enough like Gambit maybe to me, and then the accent, like, do people think it's good? Like, when you were watching it, did you hear him do that and go, oh my gosh, yes, he sounds like Gambit? For me, it was like, no, this sounds like Cheesy Taters trying to put on a bad Cajun accent. It was just, I don't know, man. The look of him, I think, was cool. I could get down on the costume design. I think that was fine. But man, I just... Channing Tater, dude. Gambit. It didn't work for me. So, and hang on a second. And I think I would draw... I would draw a... This is probably the problem that I had with the original X-Men movies. I'm going to draw a little bit of a line here. So, Channing Tatum as Gambit, I don't buy it. It's the same thing that I felt with early Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Not because I knew Hugh Jackman and I'm like, oh man, but it just like, it kind of didn't jive right away, and it's gotten better. But very much so with Halle Berry as Storm, Anna Paquin as Rogue, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Kelsey Grammer as Beast. Like, there's something about the X-Men movies where I feel like the casting, and specifically, I guess I got to say, the Fox, there's something about the casting of these movies and these characters that's just not quite right. I don't, it just doesn't jive for me. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. And so Channing Tatum felt like a Fox X-Men casting, and not in a good way. So yeah, I don't know. Some of the ones I would have liked to see, there's a scene where Wolverine is sitting with X-23, and they talk about the suit, and that is actually one of the things that I'll get into in a minute about the yellow and blue suit. But they're talking about the suit, and he's mentioning all of the other X-Men. And he's mentioning kind of how he failed them and how like some stuff happened where they died. And I'm like, this is the moment that I was anticipating it. And it honestly reminded me of when I was watching the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, and like Wedge Antilles is one of my favorite characters, and I'm like waiting for a Wedge cameo. And then like we got one in Rise of Skywalker, but it wasn't great, but it was, beggars can't be choosy, I guess. Like, this was the moment where I'm like, give me James Marsden as Cyclops in the blue and yellow, like X-Men 97 garb in a flashback. Like, give it to me. Because he's mentioning Scott. He's like, Scott, always wanted me to wear the suit. I'm like, this is the moment we're going to get a James Marsden cameo. Please give it to me. And they didn't. So that kind of sucked. I was hoping for that. And then I had heard rumors of a Taylor Swift as Dazzler cameo, which I just think works. Like, maybe that sounds wild when I just talked about Channing Tatum and Halle Berry and Anna Paquin. I'm like, Taylor Swift as Dazzler, I think could work. And I was kind of waiting for that, but we didn't see it. So, those are the ones I think I would have wanted to see. Okay, so then kind of wrapping it up here, which brings me into giving the people what they want. Wolverine in the yellow suit with the cowl. When he freaking puts on that cowl at the end of towards the end of the movie, it is just wild how awesome it was. It works, and like in any other iteration, I get maybe that it wouldn't have worked, but it worked here, and it worked so well, and I loved it. And I loved the justification that they gave for why he wears it. Like when he's sitting around the fire there and he's talking about and he's reflecting and he's saying, you know, Scott always wanted me to wear it and I hated it, but now it's like the only thing that I have to remind me of. I think he says it's like the only thing I have to remember them, and also to remind myself of the man that they thought I could be, or something like that. And I just thought, oh, like so good. Like that was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. He and Hugh Jackman monologuing right there, and it was so good, and just such a great justification for him to be in what many would probably consider like just an over-the-top superhero outfit. Like it just was so good. Ah, I loved it. And the fight, the fight in the van in the Honda, is it an Odyssey? The Honda Odyssey? Yeah, I think that's what it was. The fight between the two of them in the Honda Odyssey was so good. One of my favorite parts as well. Especially loved when he slammed his head into the radio and you heard the from Greatest Showman. Like just little things like that were just really, really awesome. So there you go. Not really a review, but just sort of my thoughts and ramblings, things I liked and disliked. So let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did you like the movie? Are superhero movies back? What was your favorite cameo? Did you like the way that they handled certain characters or not? Was the casting right? You know what I mean. Let me know down in the comments below. I'm really interested to see what people think. Maybe I'm not alone here. Maybe they got it wrong. Just saying. And hey, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're not. It really, really helps out. Like I said, the channel's not monetized, so that's a great tangible way to help. Check out my live streams every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Pacific. We are playing through Vector Man. It's going to be fun. And hey, until next time, have a great day. Thanks for hanging out. Stay retro, and I'll see you soon.